Good evening, and welcome. Welcome, everybody, to another live stream. Happy Thursday. We're talking about artificial intelligence tonight and the markets and the macroeconomic climate, Federal Reserve interest rate rises upcoming, RBA's just raised interest rates, but we'll talk a little bit about the AI stock market bull run. There's been a lot going on that front. Nvidia has reached the $1 trillion market cap level. It's back below it now, but it did reach it. Still trading at something like 200 times earnings. So there's been a significant amount of uplift there, obviously with companies like Palantir, other big tier companies as well, such as your Microsofts and Googles. And there's many under the surface as well, companies like UiPath. They're kind of flying a little bit more under the radar, but a lot of kind of that rising tide has been lifting a range of different ships in the AI space. I'd love to know your thoughts. We're going to have a chat about everything that's been playing out. It's been an interesting past few weeks on markets. We had a good start to the year in 2023, probably a lot better than many people would have given it credence to at the start of the year. If you think back to last year, and I know 6 months is not a long time, but it almost feels like an eternity ago. There was a lot of doom and gloom. The Santa rally didn't even arrive. People are like, even Santa's forgotten us. What does this mean for the year up ahead? But the macroeconomic climate has been relatively benign, particularly when compared to the start of 2022. And I think there's a lot of kind of now interest about what does the back half of this year look like. The recession calls have not faded. There's still a range of confounding macroeconomic data points to look at. We haven't had that significant earnings crash yet. We've had some slides, but obviously there's a range of different tightening measures going on. And there was a lot of talk about have we reached peak rates? And then the RBA just recently raised. We've still got the Federal Reserve. The thought is that June, we're going to have this pause. We'll see if we get that pause. But do you think we are reaching peak rates? Or what's up ahead? That's a bit of an overview on everything. Let's do the introductions. Welcome. We're now on Instagram at ASX Investor IG. That's where we're doing all the daily content, uploading reels there daily, getting some of them onto YouTube Shorts as well. But if you want daily content, all your stock market news and stories, it's at ASX Investor IG. What else have we got? We're on LinkedIn, we're on TikTok. We're now also on Facebook, but we're getting the posts up there. As you know, stock standard discussion. Firstly, if you're new here, make sure you've subscribed, turn your bell notifications on. We're getting back to videos and it's been exciting. I've been really enjoying them. Thursday live streams every Thursday, apart from last week because we were in Sydney. Doing some really exciting stuff for We Are Mobilize. Big things coming on that front. But yeah, every Thursday we'll be here at 8 p.m. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe, bell notifications on Instagram. I think that's everything. I'm just a bloke on the internet who likes talking about the markets. I'm obviously not a financial advisor. Nothing we discuss is financial advice. However, hopefully it's an interesting starting spot for you to do your own research from. June's an interesting time as well on markets, particularly for many of the ASX names. You get towards the end of the year, you have some tax loss selling sometimes for some of the companies, depending on how their previous 12 months had gone. You're also getting towards the end of the financial year for many of these names. So obviously July, then August particularly, you'll get some of those big full year reports, particularly this June. A lot of the small caps, I think, have got a few, many of them have got a few different catalysts that they're awaiting because I think that first half 2023 is a nice way to wrap it up and kind of give your forecast at the start of the year to say this is what we're working towards now. So investors are waiting to see how they go. Kingfisher, hey, first up, 7:30, nice and early. Welcome. PLS announced for the next dividend. I'm not sure if anyone's been following the PLS story. When is the next dividend? Have they announced that one yet? Let's get it. Welcome. Good day, or rather good evening. Depending where you're tuning in from, it could be either. Or good afternoon. It's good evening here in Melbourne at this stage. Sydney visit was good. So we're rolling out for Mobilize a direct giving program. We believe it's the first of its kind in Australia, a direct cash transfer program. There've been a range of these that have been deployed in developing nations, but there's only a small evidence base or a small data set of these direct cash transfers being programs being deployed in the developed world. And so we're looking to bring it to Australia and kind of see how it goes. The evidence base is strong. It points to some really good outcomes. And we've got some incredible partners that we're working with to bring that to life. So the pilot is going to be in Sydney. There's going to be 12 participants that are going through that. So we're up there just meeting with some of the partners, ticking off some final boxes as we get kind of into this pilot stage. But yeah, it's really exciting. I think ultimately that's why We Are Mobilize exists. That's why kind of Ned went on his run last year. That's why the donors around the nation are really excited because we want to be able to make impact. And this program is something that we really believe in. So yeah, exciting times. Will there be any good news for QPM at the moment? So QPM at this stage is moving towards FID, DFS and FID. So I'm not sure when QPM's FID is due. Anyone kind of got that handy, or anyone been looking into QPM recently? Are they actually making nickel for sale? That is the plan, but not right now. They're obviously working towards it. It's a heavy CapEx, $1 billion plus CapEx. So it's quite significant. But yeah, I mean, eventually their idea is obviously bringing the project to life. Quite an innovative flow sheet that they're using, innovative kind of technology. They also don't have to have their own mine, which reduces some of the mine specific risk there. So yeah, we'll see. But obviously, what's been interesting with QPM is they've got a fairly strong amount of government support as well. Because of kind of the green credentials, obviously location in Australia in a tier 1 location, necessary and critical minerals that they'll be producing. So yeah, we'll see. Stocks only go up 2020 repeat. It's almost felt like that the past few weeks. But I think what has been talked about a lot ad nauseum almost over the past period has been the fact that we're seeing decreasing breadth on the market. So at an index level, particularly in the US, because a lot of these tech stocks are disproportionately heavily weighted, we're seeing quite significant kind of not significant uplift, but they're dragging them higher. You think about names like your Apples, your Microsofts. I think I was reading last night, Tesla's up 9 days in a row, 9 sessions in a row. So yeah, you're seeing it at an index level, they're going up. Many of the big names that a lot of people are familiar with are going up. But below the surface, breadth is kind of coming in and decreasing. Another rate rise. Where are we going to? What do you guys think? RBA, how many more rate rises ahead? Do you think the Fed's going to raise rates? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Need the EV revolution before the AI revolution. As a wise, famous ad once said, ¿Por qué no los dos? Why can't we have them both? I was reading that it's just about a done deal that is going to the US now. I don't know if it is done, but I was reading that it's pretty close to done, as close to done as Ange to Tottenham was probably 4 days ago. So I think there's always room to maneuver that maybe not, but fairly close to done. That was the last that I heard of that. Russ, g'day, mate. How you going? Long time no speak. We're back. We are back with the live streams. It's been so long. It's good having some familiar names as well, guys. Yeah, Thursdays at 8 p.m. We're going to be doing live streams. Plenty of upcoming videos, different interviews. But as mentioned, Instagram's where you're going to get your daily content. It's at ASX Investor RG. It's very palatable. It makes it easy to disperse out. It's kind of more bite-sized content there and kind of can keep up with a range of different stock market stories. And then we'll have the live streams and the bigger videos for those big, meaty pieces of content that we need to talk about after full year results. So yeah, full year results are normally in August. If you're not familiar with how they work, guys, so quarterly updates come at the end of the quarter in the month after the quarter. So that will be obviously the months after March, June, September, December. But then your full year results and during the half year results, you've got that 2-month buffer period after those because they're much more robust and involved pieces of work to roll them out versus just like a smaller quarterly update. BrainChip and Imugene. Yeah, so we had the CEO of BrainChip, Sean Hare, on for an interview 2 weeks ago, maybe. If you haven't seen that, Russ, a much better kind of overview than I can give in a short 30 seconds. So after this live stream, if any of you guys haven't seen that interview, I'd definitely recommend you heading over to the channel. Should be one of the top videos there. Imugene, yeah, there's been a range of different, I think there's been a few different trials that have been starting off, a few different end data points or data points that they're getting closer to. Not sure on exact timelines there, but kind of they're continuing to progress the science. Thoughts on SYA? Yeah, it's an interest, like in terms of their asset, their location, the timing to market, the fact that they're already producing, it ticks a lot of boxes. There's been some conflicting views about the last capital raise, particularly because they are in the stage where they're just about to get cash flow positive. But yeah, I mean, all of the kind of underlying factors, such as location, the assets between Northern and then the Quebec hub are significant. Like they're really, really big assets. Come on, you Spurs. And heading to a top 6 club. Who would have thought? An Australian to a top 6 club. Remember when he left the Socceroos? Maybe 5-6 years ago or something like that? I can't remember exactly when it was. And everyone was sad that he wasn't going to be taking us to the World Cup. Now he's gone on. The Roos have had an incredible World Cup. Graham Arnold, I think, proved all the doubters wrong there. And Andrew's got himself a spot at, a leading Premier League club. So everyone's worked out very, very happy there. How do you show that 4 days later in the express package does it wrong? Do they give you any insight why? Any kind of any explanation at all, or it just hasn't arrived? How is the river dip? Cold, very, very cold, bitterly cold. Jeez, there was a lot of psyching up before getting into the river. Is it safe? I hope so. I believe so. I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually looked too much into it. No snakes. I haven't seen any snakes. There might be. Snakes don't like cold water, right? Not cold water, but snakes like the warmth. I think that's why they lay out on the. I'm not an expert, so I might be completely wrong here. I'm pretty sure that's why snakes lay out on like the paths in the summer, because they like the heat and the warmth. And like when they're in their incubators, they have like warm, I don't know, fluorescent, warm lights to, I don't know, keep them warm. If not, I'm not sure. Otherwise, they could be in that cold water. But it was very cold, and I didn't see any snakes. It's great. I love cold showers. I think they're twofold. Obviously, there's physiological benefits, and I think if you look hard enough on the internet, you'll hear people talking about those. But the mental benefits, they're not overlooked. People speak about them as well, but they're intangible and they're often harder to describe. I love it. Like, I have a lot of fun doing it. I've been river diffing all the time, but I've been cold showering every single morning. And yeah, it's a game changer. If you haven't done them, I'd recommend trying them. If you want to do them properly, start with a cold shower rather than kind of getting yourself warmed up and then going to the cold, because I think there is something on that mental side. It was really, really difficult about the first thing in the morning, as soon as you get up out of bed, that you hit cold straight away. But I think once you hit the hardest part of your day straight away and you overcome it, start with a win, you can only go up from there. That's my 2 cents on it, though. So yeah, small caps are still a good investment. I think that we are and have and will continue to see divergences in fortunes across the sector. There was a time back end of 2021, maybe 2022, sometime 2021, 2022, where the rising tide was lifting all ships, and we saw an everything rally in the lithium space. It really was some of the critical minerals across the board. I think this, like, investors are becoming much more defined with stock picking and a lot more selective with that. And I think kind of that means that, yeah, there's going to be some that obviously succeed. If you can go all the way to production, it's a significant milestone, and there's obviously going to be, great rewards along that way, but not every company goes to production. In fact, it's a lot more difficult to get to production than many people anticipate. Governor Lowe going to smash the economy to fight interest rates. And they were quite firm, have been quite firm, and were once again firm. So it was consistent. It's not a deviation from their discussion that their key mandate still and their key focus is getting down inflation because of the regressive way that it affects the lowest income earners, or disproportionately affects them. Yeah, I've seen 4.85 suggested by some. Some are saying lower, some are saying higher. We'll have to wait to see. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's definitely the end. It definitely doesn't look like it's definitely going to be the end. That's a tongue twister for you, isn't it? Weebit's still progressing. And that was a company that I was speaking about at the top. One of those that comes to mind with like a few different announcements for first half 2023 on their list. So they've obviously got the tier 1 fab. I think this was in like a March or a February presentation. So obviously things change and evolve and emerge, and it's a constantly rapidly developing space. But I think there was like tier 1 fab customer agreements, obviously Skywater qualification, big one there. What else we got? A few others there, but yeah, they're some of the big ones off the top of my head. Going in circles in Melbourne. What have you got ordered, mate? Was it something exciting, or it's just more the principle that it hasn't arrived? Yeah, both of those have been downward trends. I haven't kept too much up with CDT. I know VML had their kind of leadership change and turnover and restructure maybe 6 months ago. I can't remember the exact date, but that's kind of been in process. So yeah, I'm not sure how that's played out in terms of interpretation. 4 for 376. I haven't looked at that. Who's made runs so far? Yeah, how good is that? The everything rally. Good times. I was actually watching on the flight up to Sydney, a really good documentary. I think it was called, what's it called? It's the GameStop one on Netflix anyway. Anyone seen that one? Eat the Rich, the GameStop saga. Really good documentary. 3-part doco, maybe 40 minutes of documentary. Fantastic. I thought it was very interesting the way they portrayed it. Kind of think like a mixture of like a really educational, informative documentary paired with The Big Short. That type of style. It was about the GameStop saga and just how it played out. Yeah, worth a watch. I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. I also just finished McGregor Forever, the Conor McGregor 4-part series on Netflix. I've just got back into watching that GameStop thing was what got me into watching Netflix again. It's been like 3 or 4 years, really, even probably longer since I've actually watched shows, but they were the last 2 that I've watched. It's a future of rare earth. Yeah, I mean, I think rare earth still have got their still have their place in the mix, particularly as we move towards a decarbonised society. But some of these companies have had some really difficult times. Some of them have had some significant uplift, particularly off the back of like some of the government grants and stuff like things like that. But yeah, some have had some difficult past period. M&S, the only stock that dips after every major announcement. Yeah, have they got certified yet? I haven't been keeping exactly up. I'm not sure if they are certified. Batteries have been certified or just about. What's your thoughts on ASO? Good time for top ups. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think they had their announcement recently about First Nations people. I think they're waiting on some gold results and also just waiting on progression of the nickel find. We had the executive chairman, Tolga Kumovo, on, I think it was maybe like 2 months ago. If you haven't seen that, you can have a look at the interview. 3.3 million is gone. 5 for now. Wait, what's that first part say? 3.3 million. What am I misreading that? What's the first part say? 5 for now, though. Makes sense. Hey, thoughts on Technology One? I must admit, I haven't looked too much into Technology One recently. Were they the one who a while ago had a short? No, maybe I'm misremembering them. Yeah, I haven't looked too much into to them recently. But what's your general thoughts? What do you like about it? Kind of the space they play in. Not too familiar, PJS. Okay. Yeah, where are they currently at? Have they got demo plants and everything on site up and running? What's the current state of play for there, Pedro? Yeah, I've seen them being more active in the media space and the social media space and the digital comms space. And I know that they're continuing to progress the science. I haven't read some of the more recent announcements, but I've seen that kind of the headline level they have been continuing to progress it. Haven't looked too much into these financial ones there. Shawnee, what's your thoughts, mate? Ozpost website, create an account and chase it up from there. There you go. Reem's got the analysis there. No signs of it. Hopefully it appears there. Oh, okay, great. There we go. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, was I reading it wrong? Be buying an Apple VR headset. We can talk about that. Let's have a look at. If you haven't seen the VR headset, let's have a. How do we pull this up? 1 sec. So Apple, like 3 days ago, maybe 2 days ago, I did a video anyway on Instagram. It's on TikTok and it's on YouTube Shorts as well, so you can see that. But can we see that? Yeah, we can see it. So their VR headset, it's actually called the Apple Vision Pro. Is probably the better way to put it. It's going to be $3,499 as mentioned, which is not a cheap thing, but it's quite fascinating about the depth of what it can do. It's essentially, it will impose what you're looking at, and through their own operating system, they've launched a new one called Vision OS, and you can access all of your favorite apps. So phone, movie, FaceTime, Google, Microsoft, video games. Sorry, I went for the most basic ones, but you know what I'm saying. You can basically access all of your apps and it'll superimpose there. But then when people are near you, the glasses will uncloud, so you can still speak to them, like have a conversation in person. But like you can look at like your photos there, you can watch videos there, you can like pull out like presentations, you can do work and things like that. So it's going to be fascinating. I was reading an article from someone who mentioned the fact that in 2007, when Steve Jobs first announced the iPhone 1, that there was similar type of, hey, this is too expensive. People are probably not going to need it and use it. And so similar types of thoughts on that. And now you only look at like how ubiquitous kind of the iPhone is. Everyone's got one. Could that be the Vision Pro in 5 to 10 years? Who knows? What's everyone's thoughts on that? Jill wants to do a bit more shopping. Yeah, generally it happens in and around back end of May, early June, mid-June. Normally dries up by the end of June, but obviously, people are always looking to balance out their portfolios, but it generally is like in and around this period, maybe a little bit later. So what are you eyeing off, mate? Better ramp future for RAD than IMU. Is that just because of the technology or kind of the unmet market, or what's your thoughts of it? Face to sport, AFL, NRL, Test cricket, Scotch whiskey and your knowledge, mate. What more could a bloke want? Happy Thursday, mate. And I mean, you get to enjoy all of that and look forward to a long weekend as well. So one more day to go and you get 3 days off. What more could you want? Happy Thursday to you all. Hope you've been enjoying it. July 2023. That GFS has been delayed, hasn't it? Fairly significantly. I think it was meant to be a lot earlier than that. Expect to start 2024. Have they given a date, or is it just 2024? And we will wait to see that. All right, what we're going to look at. I wanted to look at, what's the easiest way to pull this? Even we can just look at it on Yahoo Finance or something like that. I want to look at Nvidia quickly. Nvidia has been the poster child for this run up. It's been not the only AI company that's kind of run up, but it's been obviously one that's absolutely soared. We're looking, so that's, we're a little bit zoomed in here. That's a bit better. Over the this doesn't give it to us like Yahoo Finance. Sorry, Finance Nvidia. Let's have a look at that. Stock. That's what we're looking for. Here we go. So over the 1 year, you've got Nvidia from the base up over 100%. Year to date, we're now 161% up. Over the past 1 month, which is really where the significant acceleration happened, about 20, 30%. And now if you're looking at this run up here, this was driven by a significant earnings forecast. Now I'm going to butcher some of the numbers, but it was something along the lines of like forecast $7 billion for this current quarter, made $7.5 billion in top line. And then forecast for the future, something like $7.58 billion for the upcoming quarter, made, forecast was given at like $11 billion. And a lot of that was driven by the AI trend. Actually, talking to some of like the CEOs in the AI sector, as well as like just kind of reading the general discussions in the space, it seems like inbound for a lot of this is like rapidly increasing. People are finally thinking about it. And obviously a lot of this has been catalyzed by ChatGPT. Now, AI has been around for a long, long time. It's weird that these small little, it's not a small little catalyst, but these catalysts that you can't foresee and probably weren't the big thing that you thought would be the straw that breaks the camel's back are. But hey, ChatGPT's brought it to the mainstream now. And everybody's aware of AI. You know, like half the conversations I have at work with people are about AI. How can we use it to optimize? What can we do? Like, where is the opportunities? And so it just shows you that kind of things can turn on a dime. You know, these inflection points can happen and appear. So the question is now Nvidia is here as the poster child. What happens? Trailing 12 months, trading at nearly 200 times earnings, and it was at 200 times earnings since the fall off there. If you look at it, it has run up significantly over the 1 month, and we're starting to retrace from here. The question is it going to go back and fill that gap there? Who knows? At 200 times earnings, it's not cheap. And there's definitely other companies in the AI space that are significantly cheaper. It's not like all of them are overblown. Don't get me wrong. A lot of them have got stretch valuations. But the question is Nvidia going to lead them up and down? Will there be a convergence in terms of their fortunes? Will Nvidia continue to defy expectation to next quarter and continue to raise up because the inbound demand is just even higher than we thought? Who knows? But that's kind of where things are sitting for the state of play. I wonder if we can get the it's an easy way. Earnings. I'm going to be able to provide the magnitude. So Nvidia share spiked 26% on a huge forecast beat driven by AI chip demand. That's Jensen Huang. He's rose to superstardom since, I guess, the uplift in the Nvidia share price. And so Nvidia is focused at the data center for context, if you're not familiar with them. Play in the semiconductor space, but focus at the data center level. Where was it? Yeah, here we go. So revenue was $7.2 billion versus $6.5 expected. But then this is the big one. Wall Street was $7.1 billion for the next quarter, or this quarter we're currently in. And then they said, we're going to go to an $11 billion quarter, which is 50% higher. And, you know, margin for error is around 2% on that, which is blew expectations. They were already up 100% for the year, but then they went up by another 200%. And you can see here, surging demand for their data center products. If you look at that, so if they did $7-ish billion in revenue there, over 50% of that came through their data center, 14% annual increase. And you can see here, so big demand for their GPU chips from cloud vendors, as well as large consumer internet companies. And a lot of this is to be able to effectively utilize their generative AI applications like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not the only generative AI application. In fact, Google Bard's out now. Companies like Meta and things like that are deploying large language models too, though theirs is aimed not at the consumer. But yeah, generative AI is in the here and now. AI chips are becoming increasingly important for cloud providers and other companies that run large numbers of servers. It's fascinating. The gaming division was a big drop. Now, if you remember back to 2020, 2021, Nvidia had a significant uplift, and not just in Nvidia, but there was a significant uplift from people staying at home, having more disposable income, and there was just a big gaming boom. But that has obviously turned around. We've had kind of that switcheroo, and they had a 38% drop year on year. Automotive, net income, there we go. That is Nvidia. For those who are just tuning in, if you haven't yet, the Instagram's at the top. ASX Investor IG. That's where we're doing our daily news stories, daily content, keeping you up to date with all of your stock market stuff. Head to Instagram at ASX Investor IG. Make sure you've subscribed and turn your bell notifications on and hit the like button if you're just tuning in too. IGM, I haven't looked at IGM. Was that a spin out company or where did they come from, Stevie? Graphite and found some rare earths too. VMS, I haven't, Russ. I haven't. Peter, hey all, enjoy the long weekend. Same to you, same to you. What's everyone getting up to for the long weekend? Areem saying g'day. IOU, continuing the good run. How has their run been? Let's have a look. Luca, over the past period. Oh, things are starting. The things are not late. Oh, there we go. Over the past, it's been a solid past period for them. Over the past kind of 1 month, they're up 10%. 6 months are up 10% or so. Was Iluka one of the companies that got one of the government grants? I can't remember if it was or not. It might not have been. There was a couple of rarest companies. I know Hastings did. But yeah, I can't remember if it was Iluka too. Latest predict RAM being the majority of embedded non-volatile memory by 2028 at 60%. It's madness, isn't it, mate? It's yeah. I mean, you know it. I think everyone who's kind of looked into the space knows it. It's absolutely madness. It doesn't stop not giving. It never ceases to give me shivers down my spine when I just think about it. And the fact that, it's not that many competitors in the space, but it's mind-blowing. Rad close to commercialization, give their phase trial progress as per release info available. Computers are fun. Technology is interesting, and it's going to get a lot more interesting over the next... it's always getting more interesting, but it is going to get a lot more interesting. I think we're going to see a rapid uplift in terms of a range of different technologies. I'm really keen for AR. I remember playing Pokemon Go when everyone was playing that back in the day, and how that was kind of like our first integrated AR experience. I'm keen for it. It's a lot of fun. Bigger apple than radiology. Early diagnosis is key. Yes, 100%. The early diagnosis is critical. So, prevention is key, but if you're not able to prevent, but you catch it early, it significantly improves your potential range of outcomes. IGM was a spin-off from Archer. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, so Archer plays in the quantum computing space. But I remember they were kind of I don't know how they ended up with those tenements, whether it was like a legacy from their old operations or something like that. But yeah, they're in the quantum computing. That's where they're focusing. Apple VR Pro headset versus Nvidia shares. Just about the trade-off when you're looking at the price levels there. Maddie believes the balloon is ready to be popped. Do you think everything's going to be popped? Is it just technology that needs to be popped? Is it just Nvidia that needs to be popped? What's getting popped, and has the popping just begun, or is there a little bit more time to go? The Instagram's there at the top. It's ASX Investor IG. We'll be back next Thursday night at 8 p.m. Have a good long weekend. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. We've done a range of different interviews on the channel too. So don't miss those. After this stream, you can literally just go to the top and there's like 4 or 5 different interviews from across the sectors. Come say good day on Instagram. Hope you have an amazing night. It was good to be back, guys. So many familiar faces. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to keep building the live streams up because I have a lot of fun and I hope you enjoyed them too. A big thank you. Have a fantastic Thursday night. For now, stay well. Thanks for joining and happy investing.